It is fantasy time once again, Kyle. 2 consecutive weeks for me.
How about this?
Oh my gosh. How the turntables. This is gonna be an interesting weekend because it is the penultimate race of the regular season for the NASCAR Cup Series. At probably, almost certainly my least favorite track of Michigan. But if I can get a fantasy win, maybe it'll bump up on the list of tracks. But
Really? I don't know. Pocono was good this year. I don't think you can bump it up ahead of that.
Probably not. I mean, the guy without a clutch was clutch. So, I mean, I can't really knock down Pocono. But
yeah, and Michigan, I won it because of it. So.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm fine with that. Screw it. But Michigan this weekend, since they've repaved it, it's been lackluster to say the least. We had a doubleheader. Yeah, we had a doubleheader weekend last year with this track. God, I don't know what we put through last year, but Kevin Harvick absolutely dominated both races there on the Saturday and Sunday. Just a waste of our afternoons, basically, because he was the only one that showed up to race.
Funny thing is that I was the one moving last year on the Michigan weekend, and I barely watched any of it. So
yeah, so I will be watching it because I have to for work. But
lucky you.
Yeah, but it's an interesting weekend here. There's obviously 2 playoff spots up for grabs, with Kevin Harvick and Tyler Reddick holding the final 2 playoff spots coming into this weekend. Denny Hamlin secures that third to last spot in the playoffs due to points and him locking himself in there with no new winners, possibly for three new winners knocking him down out of the playoffs. So he's secured. Kyle Larson takes over the regular season points lead, though, from Denny Hamlin after Hamlin got spun by Chase Briscoe, obviously, last weekend in the closing laps at the Indy Road Course. Larson recovering there to finish third. So quick shout out to Kyle Larson as well for winning the Knoxville Nationals last weekend. Incredible for him. Great to see the emotion from him. Definitely
such a fun race.
Definitely a guy to keep your eye on across the entire world of motorsports right now, because he's the hot topic for potentially
get
some
that
things
guy
coming up
in
in
8,500 ride next year, please, and thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into the fantasy preview. Who leads us off for this one here, Kyle? Is it myself or you?
I'll be completely honest. I forgot to get that set. But as the defending winner with all 3 series, I believe you lead us off.
Alrighty. Well, I'm going to just start off with the guy that I just talked about there then. Kyle Larson is in my lineup. Saved the usage last week. Didn't end up winning, which is good that he didn't win, and I would have burned a usage last week if I didn't feel like it. But this weekend at Michigan, 550 horsepower package back. Michigan, a track he has 3 wins, the most amongst all the tracks he's raced on in his Cup Series career. This is by far his most successful track in terms of number of wins in his career so far, and he's looking to add a 4th this weekend. His average finish in his career here is 12.42. Obviously 3 wins, 5 top 5s, 150 laps led. He does start on pole, though. Makes me a little nervous. You know how I am about these damn pole sitters, but Kyle Larson, definitely the favorite coming into this weekend, given his success on the 550 package, and this being Michigan. This is a track that he should and probably will get his 6th victory of the season, but we'll see what happens if anybody can upset the race favorite coming into this weekend. But Kyle Larson leads off of my lineup, not saving him for Daytona, the last usage for the 5 car of the season, and I feel pretty damn good about using it here.
Yeah, I've got the last Kyle Larson usage of the regular season here as well. Even though the Michigan results recently haven't been as good as the wins and stuff would suggest, it's still a strong track for him, given the wins. They've got the fastest package with this 550 package, and they're starting up front. And when you look at the fact that Michigan is dependent on fastest cars, given what we've seen from Kevin Harvick and stuff recently, but also track position and aero blocking, the fact that the potentially fastest car is starting on pole is a very enticing recipe for me, even if there is a bit of a pole curse or something like that, or at least front row, I guess you would say. Oh, well, no, because Byron did have the stuff last time. So, yeah,
yep.
Entire front row. So there you go. Rough. But yeah, anyways, for Kyle Larson, just too easy of a pick here. There's no reason to save him for Daytona. Oh, that I did use him for Daytona at the beginning of the season in the randomizer, and I did win that. So I will put that one out there. But for Larson here, it's just too much of an enticing package when you look at the track here. The 550 package is just too enticing. So Larson leads me off as well. The second entry here, I won't make any I won't do anything funny about it. It's funny enough, the guy that's starting on the front row with him as well in Chase Elliott. We've kind of made no secret about it. We've been saving Chase Elliott usages all season long for the road courses. Those are all done within the regular season. We've got one usage left. I would rather use it at Michigan than Daytona, even though Chase Elliott's been pretty solid at Daytona recently. But Elliott, surprisingly, very, very good numbers at Michigan, a consistent performer, even though he doesn't have that win yet. He's always in the top 10 conversation, pushing up to the top 5. They don't have the best 550 results this season. But I think overall, when you look at his results this season or in his career at Michigan, in addition to how good Hendrick has been, I'm a little concerned that the kind of the recent trend, Elliott's not going to be as much in the win conversation. But I still feel pretty good about him going out and getting a very solid top 10 performance here this weekend. So Elliott is my number 2 entry.
He is as well for myself. Last usage for me as well. With Chase Elliott, we've made no secret in previous episodes that we've been saving him for this last little 3-race stretch here. And he's, like you said, got really good numbers here. The best average finish amongst anybody in the field in their careers here. So it's pretty impressive what he's been through so far. In 10 races, he's got an average finish of 7.7. 3 top 5s, 76 laps led, as Kyle said as well. He starts second alongside his teammate there. So good track position for the 9 car. He finished second here back in his Xfinity Series days to Kyle Busch in the 2015 race. So this is
that's one you bring up.
No, but I'm bringing it up because that was a pretty impressive race.
It's fair. Yeah.
Like he's been good here since his Xfinity Series days. And I think that's a good trend to see. Like similarly to William Byron, of course, he won here in his Xfinity Series season. And that was really good for him that he's done decently well here at Michigan so far in his career. So I think that Chase Elliott is, like you said as well, not going to be quite there in the win contention. Top 5, top 7 range, I think, is definitely where that 9 car should end up finishing. But given his 550 horsepower package results, we haven't seen him win on anything other than a road course this season. So I'm going to hold off on Chase Elliott in terms of win prediction probably this time around, but he could go out there and win the race this weekend if the opportunity presents itself. Was close last season, almost beat Kevin Harvick here, but some late race restarts ended up having him shuffle back a little bit in the running order there to not get that first victory at Michigan in the Cup Series. So he's blown some late race restarts here as well. Kyle Larson has taken advantage of that. Remember that back to those days when Elliott was in the 24 car. So he's been in contention. He's been close. Hasn't quite gotten to victory lane. We'll see if Chase Elliott can do that this weekend, starting from second spot. My third pick, this is a guy that you do not have in your lineup this weekend because you do not have any usages left on him. Kyle Busch is in my lineup this weekend. Last usage for the 18 car. This is a track that I had circled for a bit here, given his recent results. I never really thought Michigan was a Kyle Busch track, but given the numbers, it looks like it may be better than what I originally thought. Over the last 6 races here, he's got an average finish of 4.5, 5 top 5s, 33 laps led. He starts 7th and has been spectacular on the 550 horsepower package so far this season. All of those factors combined lead me to believe Kyle Busch is definitely going to be in that top 5 range throughout this weekend. And I could see him being a force to be reckoned with for the race victory if all things go his way here at Michigan. So Kyle Busch is my third entry here and the last Kyle Busch usage for the regular season for myself. So we'll see if that luck and if Kyle Busch can give me some good points because you don't have him this weekend. So I'm hopeful that maybe saving him for this Michigan race will pay off.
Yeah, the Kyle Busch one scares me a lot because he's got the second fastest medium lap speed or lap time with this 550 package. He's had really, really strong, consistent results in his career, or at least recently at Michigan. And that combination of being very strong at this track and also having one of the top 3 cars in the field with this package is very, very scary. And especially recently, they've been trending even higher when you look at Pocono and then Atlanta versus some of the other Hendrick cars that have maybe taken a little bit of a step back, specifically looking at maybe a William Byron or something for that one. So very, very scared of that Kyle Busch usage. I decided to use him up a little bit earlier in the year. Worked out for me in that regard, but I'm paying for it at the end of the season here with a Kyle Busch usage at Michigan, which I'm quite scared of. But the usage that I have that you don't is Martin Truex Jr., and he is the one that I'll go to next. I don't love him at this track. He's been good here recently. They haven't had as much speed on the 550 tracks this season, but I think overall a couple of decent runs at Pocono, top 10 at Atlanta, or top 5 at Atlanta, kind of getting back on that trend. I don't think that he's going to be in win contention. I think even top 5 is maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I think it's solid top 10 day. Use that last Martin Truex Jr. usage. He's somebody that I wish I used up earlier in the year. I was talking about that a little bit before the show off air. He's definitely a guy that I wish I used up earlier in the year, but I've got the usage left. I'm not going to end the season with a Truex usage just kind of left there. So I'll put him in the lineup here and hope that maybe he exceeds my expectations here. So he's my number 3 entry. Number 4, I'll go to somebody that maybe has a little bit of surprising results, both this season and at this track, and that's Ryan Blaney for this next one. Big fan of the potential that he's got this weekend. Looking this season, he's top 5 in medium lap speed with this 550 package. 3 straight really strong top 10 results. 2 strong runs at Pocono, which is basically the only kind of big 550 track that we can kind of draw somewhat of a parallel to, not having Auto Club earlier in the year. Another top 10 run at Atlanta. So I think that he's maybe a bit of a sleeper pick to go out there and contend for the win potentially this weekend. I won't set the expectations that high, but I definitely expect a very, very strong weekend from Ryan Blaney this weekend. So he's my number 4 entry.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with my next pick here. You know what?
Yeah, that is how the order goes. Yep.
I'm gonna go with Ryan Blaney. Okay. I had him as a fringe guy, but now that you've used him, I am gonna match you on that. I did feel good about him this weekend. Just when I look at some other options that I've got going on, I was like, oh, maybe I don't know. But I think the 12 car looks to be pretty solid this weekend. Starting 3rd, the highest track position he's had in quite some time after finishing 2nd last weekend at the Indy Road Course. Could do him well to get a good point stay. It's been a tougher season than I originally thought it was going to be for Ryan Blaney. I thought this would be maybe more of a breakout year for him in terms of the win category. But Kyle Larson has basically scooped up all the wins, it seems, over the summer months. So Ryan Blaney has had very little opportunity to try and get those wins. Penske as a whole has been definitely the 3rd organization behind JGR and Hendrick. So it's been tough going for them to get those wins consistently. But maybe this is the weekend Ryan Blaney breaks through. This is a huge weekend for Ford, obviously in their backyard. This is a big manufacturer battle there in Michigan, obviously being with the manufacturers in Detroit and whatnot with Chevrolet and Ford. So lots of pride goes into this weekend. Maybe the Fords bring a little bit of extra something here because they have done historically very well at this track over the past couple of years. And maybe Ryan Blaney is the guy to add to that total this weekend. So I will match you on Ryan Blaney for my 4th entry. I'm going to stay in the Ford camp for this next one. And I'm going with the guy that is absolutely the best here at Michigan in the field, it seems, over the past couple of races. Kevin Harvick is in my lineup. I have 2 usages left on the 4 car. I probably won't be using him, so I'm going to probably leave a 4 car usage on the table, unfortunately. But Kevin Harvick is in my lineup over the last 6 races here. Average finish of 2.17, 4 victories, 5 top 5s, 376 laps led. He starts 8th. I like the way the trend is going for the 4 car of late on the 550 tracks as well. Seems like they're starting to find their groove a little bit and turning into the playoffs. That's what they desperately need going on these tracks. I feel like Kevin Harvick could be definitely in for his first win of the season this weekend. If all things go together, this is a track. 4 victories over the last 6 races is very much unheard of when we look at all the numbers across this season when we've done these previews. So Kevin Harvick is a no-brainer for me this weekend, and I feel very confident in the 4 cars' abilities. So he's my 5th pick.
Kevin Harvick is a fascinating one for me. I've really gone back and forth on him, just because he's been so good at this track, but they also haven't had a ton of speed this season, and especially on the 550 package tracks. They're outside the top 10 in median lap speed with this package. He's been consistently in the top 10 and has performed very well and kind of exceeding where that car's speed kind of has been this season as they've taken a big step back as a team. But even when he's been in the top 10 with this 550 package, it's been kind of low 30s kind of points. And I don't know yet if I'm going to have him in the lineup is what I'll
You
say.
got to figure it out here.
Don't know if I got him. The guy that I do know that I'm going to have in the lineup though is Denny Hamlin here as my pick number 5. I just think is more of a safe bet than Daytona is, and he's very good at Daytona. Could absolutely go out and put up some very strong results there at Daytona, or he could also go out and wreck. And so because of that, I'm going to put him in the lineup here. I'm going to have a strong 6 car, so somebody that's a decent usage is going to be end up garaged and going to be an option for Daytona anyways. But for Hamlin here, I just think that all season long they've been so consistent. They're the number 5 team in terms of 550 speed this season. He's been solid at Michigan as well recently. So I think the combination of his consistent performance, both the season and at this track, results in a safer or better bet than just kind of saving that one usage for sure for Daytona. So he's somebody that might be a candidate to get garage just because of how good he has been at Daytona. But he's going to be in my lineup here just because of that high-end potential that they do have going into this weekend. They also will be looking to get those stage points and looking to get potentially a stage win playoff point to try and claw back that regular season championship, because the 15 bonus points is an absolutely huge thing for Denny Hamlin's team. They need to go out and try to get that regular season championship, just given the lack of playoff points that they have just versus everybody else in the field this year. So that's something to watch for, the stage points and running for those especially, but also going out there and potentially being a top car for the win. My number 6 entry, I got to make the decision.
I love that you're in this position.
And I actually am going to go against Kevin Harvick for this one. I've got 2 usages left, so it's not a usage thing at all. But I feel like everyone's kind of looking to Kevin Harvick to have that breakout weekend this year, or go out and potentially win the race. And I just look at the speed, I look at the performances this year, and yes, he's been great at this track, but he's been great at this track because he's also had some of the best cars and the most speed and the track position and all that stuff. And I don't necessarily see that being the thing. I'm looking for the high-end potential for this one. And for this one, I'm going to go to Brad Keselowski. For Penske here, he's been surprisingly very strong in terms of speed with this package and consistent in getting points. He had 2 strong runs at Pocono, getting some stage points there, a little bit surprisingly so. The number 6 car in terms of median lap time with this package this season hasn't necessarily had as high end of results at his home track here in Michigan. But that is dragged down by the wreck in the second race last season, where he was very strong in the first half of that one. So looking to spread it out a little bit over the lineup, I could have gone to Harvick, but SHR's lack of speed with this package just scared me off a little too much. And so because of that, I'm going to go against it. I'm going to go with the Penske car, which I feel like has the higher end potential. And I'll go with Brad Keselowski over Kevin Harvick to round out my lineup.
Okay. Interesting. I was not expecting you to go Brad Keselowski. Okay. Well, my last usage, I was just waiting to see if you would use them, and you did. So I'm going to match you on Denny Hamlin.
Okay.
Last usage for the 11 car as well. I was back and forth on this one if I wanted to save him for Daytona. I decided instead to save William Byron for Daytona instead. So I'm going to go with that flight on that front. I like the track position for the 11 car a little bit more. Byron's been in a bit of a slump recently with getting the finishes. So I'll leave that to Daytona. Of course, the defending race winner there as well. It's very difficult to go back-to-back at Daytona, but we'll see. He's a very good super speedway racer as well. Both of them are. So I feel confident in either way. If I have to garage Hamlin, and I have both of them for next weekend, which would be fantastic. But I'm good to go with William Byron on that front next weekend. But for Hamlin, the last 6 races here, an average finish of 6.83, 2 top 5s, 40 laps led. He starts 9th. Yeah, like you said as well, he's going for that regular season championship. He's got to try and get these points somehow, and it's going to be more of a surefire thing to get them here than at Daytona. But saying that, the immediate advantage does go to Hamlin next week. So if they are very close next weekend, maybe Hamlin goes aggressive for those stage points and ends up getting it by a mere margin. But he has 22 points to make up over Larson over the next 2 weekends. We'll see if he can manage to do that against the dominant car, probably the best car this season in the 5 car. So Denny Hamlin rounds up my lineup, the most star-studded lineup I've gone with the entire year. for sure. And there's no reason because to not to, because it's the penultimate weekend where I feel a little bit more confident in these guys. So Denny Hamlin is the last guy to round out my lineup.
You having a Byron usage and not using him here is very surprising to me. That's what I'll say. I think his speed at Pocono was extremely, extremely good and translates potentially well to Michigan just in terms of the package and having that strong car. Number 2 car in terms of median lap speed on with this package. So I'm a little surprised that you didn't go with the Byron one and you're saving him for Daytona there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he hasn't quite been as good recently. Like, I'm just going with the trends, and when you have confidence, it definitely shows. And right now, I think Byron definitely does have confidence, but he just hasn't quite gotten the results. So until he finds a little bit more form, has that consistency come back, I'm going to hold off on Byron and maybe save him for a wild card weekend where he could surprise next weekend, or
Fair enough.
caught up on.
Hey, I mean, he won the race last year, so
exactly.
It's not a bad bet.
I'm going against my better judgment on this one, but the track position I think plays in the hands of Denny Hamlin just a little bit more for this one. But in last year when I looked at the results, William Byron was okay. Like, he wasn't spectacular.
Yeah, no, he hasn't been great at Michigan in his Cup career yet.
So that's my one pause. And Hamlin's recent results there, plus his consistency so far, I'm like, yep, that's the one I feel a little bit more confident in. I just wanted to match you on Ryan Blaney. That was the one I probably could have swapped out for William Byron if I wanted to. Those were the two I was deciding between.
I would have gone Harvick,
but I mean, I did go Harvick, so I do feel good about all of them. So
no. I mean, like, I would have switched out Harvick for Byron.
Oh, okay. Well, I do feel good about
if you had Byron in for Harvick there, that would have been my ideal lineup probably.
Okay. I feel good about mine. We'll see what happens, but let's look
at the Busch one is the one that scares me. I think he's a top candidate to potentially go out and dominate this race. So I'm scared.
Okay, I like it. Let's look at the honorable mentions for this week. We just talked about him, William Byron. I think he's going to be a strong candidate to maybe get a result this weekend, but until he does get that finishing result that he's been looking for the past couple of weeks, I'm going to hold off on him. But if you do have a one usage left situation here and you don't feel as confident in Daytona as maybe I do, then play him this weekend. Make it work. We use a William Byron usage. You don't want to leave that on the table. And after such an incredible season for him so far in 2021. Next up, you have him in your lineup. Martin Truex Jr. does make an appearance on this list just based off of previous history. I am a little bit concerned about the 19 car this weekend. I don't know how much speed they'll necessarily have because it's been kind of a hit or miss kind of year for them on the 550 tracks. When we looked at the one that stands out to me immediately is them at Charlotte and the Coke 600. They were absolutely nowhere. And that was a track he's been spectacular at recently. So I wonder if there's a little bit of correlation there, but we'll see what happens with the 19 car this weekend. Another guy, if it wasn't at this point in the season with the usage situation, it's Kurt Busch. He's been spectacular so far on this 550 package as of late specifically. Yeah. And he's in a really good point situation here where he can go for those points. He starts sixth, great track position for the one car. I think he's going to be a really good candidate to get you some underlying points. Yeah. And he probably could be in that top six range of getting the most points of the race. We'll see what happens with the one car, but definitely if you're low on usages and some other guys that we have some usages left, use the one car this week, and he's going to be a very good bet. The next two, the RCR duo, the bubble battle between the last two guys, unless something happens either this weekend with a new winner or next weekend at Daytona with a new winner. Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick both make an appearance here for honorable mentions this weekend. Maybe more so for Austin Dillon. I would lean towards putting him in your lineup than Tyler Reddick. I looked at the numbers a little bit more, and I looked at his performance last season. Austin Dillon was in contention late for a top 8 finish, got wrecked on a restart, brings down his average finishing total. So unfortunate there for Dillon. The numbers may not appear so great, but if you look at the more underlying stuff and you go look for a bit more context, Dillon was actually pretty competitive here last time around. So I'll say Austin Dillon could definitely be one. He's looking for stage points. Almost had a net 0 gain out of last weekend because they both played the same strategy, going for stage points. Reddick sweeping the stages, but Dillon right in tow. So I'm curious to see what happens this upcoming weekend. It's a huge battle between the RCR cars, and I'm fascinated to see. I'm curious to know, which one would you lean towards, Kyle? RCR with Reddick or Dillon this weekend if you had to pick one?
Dillon. I think he's got better results so far this season with this package. And I believe in his kind of higher end ability than maybe Reddick going into this weekend. So Reddick got the advantage through the road courses and whatnot so far. But I think I'd lean Dillon over Reddick going into this weekend.
It's going to be very close. The last two, it's going to be,
Yeah.
if it doesn't happen with the new winner, the bubble battle and the regular season points championship are basically the exact same margin. Those are the two things you have to watch for the final 2 weekends of this season.
Yeah, I will add the caveat, though, that Reddick did have better results at Pocono, and that's about the only comparable. I think Reddick's been faster in general on the 550 package tracks, but I think I'd lean Dillon here this weekend.
This is the most unknown track throughout the whole season, basically, because we haven't had another 2 mile track because we didn't have Auto Club earlier this season as a reference point. This is the only one of this current length.
Yeah, we've got all this data and stuff to look at from the 550 package tracks and stuff like that, but we don't have any direct comparable in terms of this track type with Auto Club not being there. So definitely strange being in this situation this late into the year, not really having a reference point, but Pocono is about the closest that you can possibly get, and even then it's not even close to being similar.
No, not at all. But the last two ones for the honorable mentions, Christopher Bell makes an appearance on this list, and Brad Keselowski makes an appearance on this list. I was close to putting Keselowski in a stay away from this weekend.
Can you do that? I would enjoy you putting him in the stay away from so that he has a good weekend.
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay.
Christopher Bell is the last one for the honorable mentions then this weekend. Not the great track position that he was looking for based off of the poor finish at the Indy Road Course. I thought he was going to be a lot better than what he was. Unfortunately, that did not come to be the case, but got the fantasy victory out of it. But that was just a shit show the entire time, so I can't really quantify that as a fantasy victory. But for Bell, decent results so far. Had pretty good inaugural numbers last year for the Levine family in the 95 car last season.
The only thing that I'll say about that, that's in a little bit inflated by the invert in the stage points in the second race. That's the only thing I'll say. But that he was good and kind of kept that position a little bit. But the lack of 550 speed this year would put me off of Bell.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a top tier candidate, but if you're low on usages, which you may be this season, you could look at him.
The only thing I'll say is that Bubba Wallace has more points with this package this year than Christopher Bell does.
Okay, fair enough. But I like the trend Bell's been on more recently. I think they're starting to pick up some steam a little bit. So feel decently about him. Definitely not a top tier candidate, but worth an honorable mention nonetheless. 3 stay away from this weekend. 2 Penske cars, because I just added them back in. Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano. Joey Logano is an interesting one. The 2 guys that we just had the spotter switch for that we talked about earlier in the episode. Logano, terrible in the 550 horsepower package this season. They've dedicated their entire focus to the 751, it seems. It's paid off to an extent. They're still top 5 in points, so they're still well within the range of getting some good regular season points for the playoffs, that is. But I just don't like him on the 550 package, no matter how good his numbers are here at Michigan over recent results. Brad Keselowski, he just hasn't been consistent enough. I feel like he's just been hit or miss this entire season, and it's been more miss of late. I don't know what's going on with the 2-car brake issues at Watkins Glen. Weird strategy call there at the Indy Road Course. Of course, it's different kinds of racetracks, but still, momentum is momentum, and I don't quite see that the momentum's on the side with the 2-car right now. And it's been a downward spiral, it seems, since the announcement that he's going to be moving over to Roush Fenway Racing, or at least the rumors started. I don't know if Keselowski hasn't been very consistent since then. So he goes into a stay away from, despite this being his home track, the one he desperately wants to win at. But I'm going to go against the recent results, with him showing some speed, and say that most recent races so far in 2021 will play more of a factor than his recent results here at Michigan as a whole. And then lastly, Alex Bowman. This has just not been a great track for him so far in his career in the Cup Series. Has had pretty poor average finish results. And when I looked at it, I'm like, do I look at the options and say, yeah, he's probably okay, but has only 2 top 10s over the last 6 races there. No laps led, has a better average starting position of 13.7, but then falls back to an average finish of 18.67. So I don't know. I think Bowman's been an interesting candidate of late. Could be a top 10 for sure. But when I look at some other options there, his teammates are all better than him this weekend for sure. I like the JGR cars, except for Christopher Bell, probably a little bit more than him. But I think Bell's more of an honorable mention than Bowman is based off of their point situation and how many wins Bowman has so far this season. And then Kevin Harvick, I think, will step up his game this weekend to try and take that place of an Alex Bowman that he usually does. So he goes into my stay away froms. You can disagree, go back and forth with me here, but those are my 3 stay away froms here.
Yeah, Bowman, I just believe in their 550 speed. They've got 4 straight really strong top 10 runs with this package dating back to Charlotte. Both Pocono races, of course, got the win there. And then Atlanta had a really strong run there as well. So I, even though the results haven't been as consistent, did have 2 top 10s there in 2019. So I do kind of believe in Bowman as a potential long shot candidate. Not in my lineup, was a little bit off my radar, but like an 8-9 option, kind of looking at the combination of speed, team, and recent results. And for Keselowski, I feel like the overall sentiment of him has kind of been skewed because of the 2 road courses. Had a really, really strong points day at both or at Pocono, and both of those were top 10 runs, decent at Atlanta as well, getting the top 10. I just kind of look back to last year. They were up there in the conversation for the win in both races, ended up wrecking in the second one. So I'm going for like the high end potential there. I feel like there's less certainty with a Keselowski or maybe a Bowman. I feel like they're either going to be a top 5 candidate or they're kind of going to be a miss and not even be really in the top 10.
Probably. That's a good way to describe it there. Bust or hit.
And that's kind of what both of them have been all season. There hasn't been a lot of consistency between the two. And you can kind of see that where they are in points being in that 10th to 12th range. And in traditional points, of course, the playoff points and stuff is different with Bowman getting the wins. But on traditional points, you can kind of see the variance of their seasons with them being so much lower than kind of some of their counterparts.
Definitely. So that'll do it for the honorable mentions and the stay away froms. Let's get to the bonus picks here. This is
you lead things off.
Yeah, this is where the kind of the week really gets really into it. Usually the decider between us, but the bonus picks last week, and we couldn't really predict what happened last weekend at the
I don't even know who ended up being the correct picks. I'll actually look that up because I'm sure they're stupid.
Allmendinger was obviously top Chevy. Ford.
Blaney would be top Ford.
Yeah,
he finished second.
Toyota. Oh man.
I don't even know, man.
Would it be Kyle Busch? I don't know.
I don't even know. I'll see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, because it was a gong show by the end.
All of them had problems.
Yeah. So okay. Race results. So Allmendinger top Chevy, Blaney top Ford, top Toyota was. Oh my serious. Top Toyota was Bubba Wallace.
Wow.
In 13th.
Wow.
Yeah. So how about that?
Who would have thunk?
Well,
Bubba Wallace on a road course.
Who would have thought Colleague is the winning organization?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh my goodness.
If you had that for your bonus picks, props to you. But Michigan, hopefully there's not too many curveballs like that this weekend.
Hopefully there is, so it's actually an enjoyable watch. But
well, I don't prefer. I don't want any more stress. I would like a good points week here for these usages that I've been saving. But top Chevrolet, Kyle Larson. No reason to try and get around that one. It's his to lose this weekend, and I imagine you're going to take him for the race winner pick, which is where you're going to probably scrounge back some points, I would believe, compared to my Kyle Busch usage, if it's going to happen that way kind of thing. But I think Larson's definitely the guy to beat this weekend, man. And I don't like that you have the option to get him first, but I'll take him for top Chevrolet.
I'm going to take him as well here. I think that there's some other really strong candidates looking at Chase Elliott, his consistency, William Byron, and the potential high end that they have being the second fastest with this package this season. But Kyle Larson, he's been the fastest with this package. He's won here in the past. He's starting up front. Everything seems to be shaping up to be a very, very strong both points day and finishing position for Kyle Larson. So I'm not going to get too crazy with it. I'm going to have him there as my top Chevy as well. For top Ford, I am going to go against the grain a little bit, and I am going to take Ryan Blaney as my top Ford for this one. I really believe in their speed so far this season with this package. I think Blaney's underrated at this track, and kind of the combination of package and track. I think he's a sleeper candidate to go out and get a top 5 run. They've been really kind of uptick in performance recently, with some help, of course, getting that second place finish at Indy. But I think overall things are trending in the right direction for this team. 3 straight strong top 10 performances with this package. So we'll take Ryan Blaney to lead the field for the Fords.
I'm going to match you. I'm going to take Ryan
Okay.
Blaney for the top Ford as well. Debating between Harvick and Blaney for that one, but based off of their 550 package success, I'll take the more of a safer bet on Blaney, and then hope that Harvick makes up the deficit there in the points, that he actually does have some speed. And if I lose 5 points for him being the top 4, then so do you. So it helps in that respect. But I'll take Blaney here for top Ford. Top Toyota, interesting one. Could go a couple of different ways between, if you wanted to throw Truex in there, but mainly Hamlin between Kyle Busch. But I am going to take Kyle Busch here for the top Toyota. Given the 550 package results, the consistency he's been showing as of late, been in the contention, was very thoroughly impressed for the majority of that race at the Indy Road Course, that he got up inside that top 5. So I like that they are starting to gel. That was a huge prove it to me weekend, because I didn't have high expectations really going into the Indy Road Course for him last weekend, given his starting position as well. I was a bit nervous, got into the top 5 consistently there. And despite it being different packages, that does mean a lot to me, that he can get the job done on a track that he's not been as comfortable with in his career, with those kind of obscure road courses that he hasn't been to before without any Xfinity Series race prior to that. So that was encouraging. I feel like he's going to be the guy to beat for the Toyota camp this weekend, and he's going to be the top Toyota.
I've got him as well. I think that this is a pretty slam dunk, easy pick. The combination of track, package, and driver here. I really, really like Kyle Busch this weekend, and I'm very scared of that usage. But I wanted to go differently with one of these bonus picks here for these 3. But I'm not going to let you have the Kyle Busch one to yourself, because I think that's an easy 5 points for this one. I really think it's going to be a very, very good weekend for him there. I don't really see any other Toyotas that I feel even close to as decent about as Kyle Busch. Truex is an interesting one, but the lack of consistency with this package this season, I don't feel safe enough about. Hamlin's kind of in that same category. He's been consistent, but hasn't had that same high end as some of the others. And then Christopher Bell's not really even on my radar for this race. So Kyle Busch, easy pick for top Toyota. Manufacturer, I think it's still pretty easy for this one. Chevrolet to lead things off. It's a lot more interesting for the organization for me, but for manufacturer, Chevy is the easy pick for myself.
Okay. This is an interesting debate this weekend, because Chevrolet's been kind of meh here lately in terms of the race victories, because it's been dominated by Kevin Harvick in the Ford camp. I'd be curious to know if you were to lean one other way. I'm going to go Chevrolet as well. But if you were to lean one other way to the Toyota or the Ford camp, which one would you feel more comfortable with?
Ford has the more candidates, but I'd feel better about Kyle Busch and Toyota. So if I were to go against Chevy, I would go with Toyota.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting, because this is Ford's backyard, and they always find a way to get a victory here. It seems they've always been so super good here, but until Kyle Larson just does not show up on a 550 horsepower track, or even his teammate William Byron or Chase Elliott, there's no reason for us to not go with the Chevrolet for the winning manufacturer. Winning organization, I'm going to go with Hendrick Motorsports. I just can't quite give myself the opportunity to go against that this weekend. Joe Gibbs Racing, yes, I feel very good about Kyle Busch this weekend, maybe even Denny Hamlin if he wants to go up there for a race victory. But the 3 candidates of Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Kyle Larson, they outweigh 3-2 for me this weekend, and that's the difference. So they're going to be my winning organization.
Yeah, I thought about going the Joe Gibbs route, because I really do believe in Kyle Busch this weekend, but Hendrick is Hendrick. I just can't bet against them. So we're going to be the same through to this point for the bonus picks, which is why we can't pick the same winner pick. So at least something's different.
Exactly. We're getting into it now. Truck Series winner pick. You lead us off for this one here, Mr. Cushman.
Yes.
What do you got for the Truck Series playoff opener? Predictions are coming soon. So this is maybe a bit of a tease on who you could see potentially moving on to the next round.
It is a bit of a tease, and I'm glad I get to go first for this one, because I have one guy that I'm really looking at having maybe a bit of I won't say a breakout performance, because they've been good all season long. They've got a couple of wins, but I feel really good about them this weekend. and that's Todd Gilliland. Last year at Gateway, they were looking like they were going to pick up that first win for Front Row Motorsports in the truck series and got wrecked out. I really, really believe in the team speed this season. I really like what Todd Gilliland has done to kind of rein in a bit of his aggressiveness and maybe wrecking so much. He hasn't wrecked as much this year. He's been much more consistent, coming off of some really strong results. So I'll say Todd Gilliland gets the win at Gateway in the Truck Series opener.
Alrighty. I do really like that pick. I really do. But for me, I'm going to go with the guy that won here last season, and that's Sheldon Creed. I say that he picks up his second victory of the season here, starts off the playoffs with a victory once again. He's obviously the defending Truck Series champion, so he's got a lot of things going his way coming into the playoffs. He was both of our regular season points championship prediction in our preseason episode, so didn't quite come to fruition on that. John Hunter Nemechek ran away with that this season, but Sheldon Creed is definitely an interesting candidate here going forward as a championship potential upsetter to the John Hunter Nemechek favorite that he is. So Sheldon Creed is my pick for this weekend. Xfinity Series, Michigan, they did not race here last season for the Xfinity Series. So first time that they're going to be back here since 2019. And I'm going to go with the guy that you're going to really like here. And I feel really some weird reason I like this guy this weekend. I'm going with Sam Mayer to get his first Xfinity Series victory this weekend. Yeah, I got a funny feeling.
I definitely like that one. I'll be honest. Yeah, you got me.
I know. I think it's just because it's such an obscure track for the Xfinity Series. It doesn't really have any correlation. And it's that you can definitely see that sometimes where they don't quite have as much focus into this track as maybe some other tracks that will do them better later on in the playoffs. The mile and a half, of course, where you're going to put a little bit more emphasis in than a track like Michigan that doesn't really have any correlation or similarity to other places. So this is a place where there could be some sort of upset. We've seen that in the Truck Series sometimes, and the Xfinity Series could definitely do that this weekend. So I'm going with Sam Mayer to get his first Xfinity Series victory this weekend at Michigan.
Love that swing. And so I got to go. First time winner as well, Daniel Hemrick. It's going to happen at some point. But what I will say is the last time that Daniel Hemrick was here in an Xfinity car, 2018, finished runner-up to Austin Dillon. So he's been good here in the past. I like the team in this season in terms of speed with the bigger tracks and stuff like that. I like his experience going into this weekend, not having any practice or anything like that versus the rest of the field that's maybe going to be more inexperienced. So yes, I am going Daniel Hemrick this weekend.
If you want me to hate a place more than Michigan, Daniel Hemrick winning this weekend would put it over the top. That would.
You are the only person in motorsports that doesn't want Daniel Hemrick to win a race.
I know.
The only person. That celebration when he eventually wins a race is going to be the best thing of the season.
I can't get behind it, man. As much as
there's no reason to hate him.
The fact that
I don't get it.
This is the worst part. Like, he's in an Xfinity Series number 18 for Joe Gibbs Racing, and I still cannot get behind this guy. I don't know. It's some sort. I just got to think against Daniel Hemrick. It is what it is.
If it was a regular points format, which we should have to begin with, he would literally be an Xfinity Series champion.
I can't say that. He hasn't won a race, man, and he's in some pretty damn good equipment. So until he does, I'll give him some credit then. But until he does, I can't get behind him. If he gets up to the Cup Series next season in some sort of mid-pack team, I mean, like, what are we doing here? Like, he's just he hasn't proven himself at the lower level if he can't win a race. So I don't think he deserves to be up in the Cup Series if he wants to get back there. I think you
vastly overrate the ability to win a race versus the ability to be consistent and get finishes. That's all I'll say.
Okay. I just think winning races.
If I'm a mid-pack team, I would rather a driver that can consistently finish and get solid finishes than somebody that will maybe go out there and get one really good result, but then go out and wreck a bunch of times. That's all I'll say.
If he can put the consistency into race victories, he's a great race car driver, but until he can kind of finish the deal.
But nobody's calling him a great race car driver.
I don't know. I just think if you're at JGR,
I don't get it.
You got to be a great race car driver. So I don't know. It's just
he's also currently leading JGR in points right now. So
Yeah. I mean, just when I look at what the 54 car has been able to do though this season, it's
And
just,
look at all the wins that all the other cars have. Oh,
I,
wait, forgot.
I know, I know you get heated about this topic. I know you do. I just,
I just don't get it. I just
I,
don't
I,
get it.
I know. I don't really have any rhyme or reason to it, but he's just one guy that I just can't cheer for. I can't get behind for some reason. So, you lead us off with the Cup Series winner pick. On that note, who do you think's gonna bring it home this weekend? What do you got?
I think this is a two-horse race this weekend between the two Kyles, Larson and Bush. I'm going to take Larson just because he's been faster. He's got the wins in the past year. I just think that all kind of the positive momentum that he's got recently coming off of Knoxville, all this kind of stuff. He's got to win here in kind of these couple of weeks. Should have been last week and had the insane back-to-back of winning Knoxville the night and then going out the next day and winning Indy. We know the chaos and stuff that happened at the end. I think he's going to rectify that and get the Cup Series win this weekend.
Well, I'm going to take the other Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
He's going to win this weekend at Michigan. I really, really feel good about Kyle Busch this weekend. I was trying to downplay it a little bit so you wouldn't take him potentially for the race winner pick. I didn't think you would.
No, I wasn't going to take him for the winner pick. I can't leave you Kyle Larson, but
I thought there was a possibility just because you don't have him in your lineup. So you're looking to maybe gain back some 15 points, but it makes a lot of sense. I would have done the exact same thing on your end if I was in your shoes. So I like Kyle Busch a lot this weekend. He hasn't won at Michigan since 2011, and that's the only time he's ever won at this track in the Cup Series. So it's been quite the hiatus for him to win at Michigan. Maybe this is the time 10 years later he gets it done at Michigan International Raceway. Of course, he would win at the two least favorite tracks of mine, Pocono and Michigan this season. What a way it would be for him to get his third victory of the season. And if he wants to go on this championship run that I think he's capable of, this would be a good time to get that third victory, get another one in the playoffs, then rounded out at Phoenix for that fifth victory, which I think is the perfect number to win a championship. 5 victories. It means you've been very good consistency wise, and you get that race victory and get the good points along with that. So I like Kyle Busch this weekend. Going to go with him. Of course, the last episode here at the setup, I'm going to go with Kyle Busch as the race victor here at Michigan this weekend. So that'll do it for our fantasy preview this weekend. Expectations, final thoughts on the Michigan race this weekend. I know it's not our favorite whatsoever, so we can quickly get through it, but your final thoughts on Michigan before we look at the Truck Series playoff predictions.
Yeah, the weekend doesn't really matter that much unless somebody outside the playoff picture wins. It's a track that doesn't correlate to any of the playoff tracks. We're at the point of the regular season where kind of where everyone's going to be in terms of their bonus point situation and stuff. Some people, depending on a win, could definitely help the situation, but really outside of the playoff points and stuff like that, and the Reddick versus Dillon battle, the weekend doesn't matter all that much. It's going to be mediocre racing. It's going to be a frustrating watch, and that's why we love NASCAR, isn't it?
Exactly. Do you want to go through our lineups one more time here, Kyle, to round out the fantasy stuff? I'll lead it off here. So for my lineup, I've gone with Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and then the difference with Kyle, I'm going to have Kyle Busch as well as a difference, but then Ryan Blaney and Kevin Harvick to round up my 6 drivers there for the lineup. Then for the bonus picks, the exact same as Kyle basically when he gets to it, but the top Chevrolet, Kyle Larson, top Ford, Ryan Blaney, top Toyota, Kyle Busch, winning manufacturer Chevrolet, winning organization, Hendrick Motorsports. For the Truck Series on Friday night at Gateway, Sheldon Creed takes home the checkered flag in the playoff opener. Xfinity Series on the Saturday at Michigan, Sam Mayer gets it done for his first Xfinity Series victory. And then on Sunday, the Cup Series at Michigan, Kyle Busch wins his 3rd race of the season.
I've got Larson, Elliott, Blaney, Hamlin as well. The difference is going into this weekend, Martin Truex Jr. and Brad Keselowski going with a couple of big swings on those two guys that are either going to be in the top 5 conversation or basically not really in the top 10 conversation whatsoever based off of how their seasons have gone. For the bonus picks, basically the exact same. Chevy, Larson, Ford, Blaney, Toyota, Kyle Busch, manufacturer Chevy, organization Hendrick. To the winner picks, Todd Gilliland, I'll say gets it done, gets a little bit of redemption at Gateway on the Friday. Daniel Hemrick goes out and gets it done in the Xfinity race on Saturday. And Kyle Larson gets the win on Sunday. A little bit of retribution going for this weekend with Gillen getting the win when he should have won last year, Larson getting the win when he should have won last weekend, and Daniel Hemrick when he should have won at some point by this point.
Okay, fair enough. That'll do it for the NASCAR Michigan fantasy preview for the penultimate race of the Cup Series regular season. Should be a fun one. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan, we'll have a entertaining battle between the two Kyles at the front. But if not, maybe we'll get a surprise winner. Who knows? But